Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user meanbdaymom2323. Am I the a-hole for cancelling my daughter's birthday and making her call her classmates to explain why? Here is the situation. My daughter Abby just turned 11 and was supposed to have a birthday party last month with the girls in her class. She is autistic and has ADHD that we haven't found the right treatment for, so she struggles to make friends, and this would have been the first non-family party she has had. In the last few months, Abby went to 2 other birthday parties where the whole class was invited, which is why she asked to have a larger friend party this year in our backyard. Unfortunately, because of timing, Taylor, her best friend, wouldn't be able to make it because her family was out of town. The day before the party, I was letting Abby use my phone to give her classmates the time and location information, and I overheard this exchange. Some other girl asked, "Is Taylor going to be there?" and Abby said, "No, she's lame and can't come." I sternly told Abby to hang up and explain herself. She tried to tell me that she wasn't serious, but I thought it was incredibly mean to call her only friend lame and felt like she was behaving horribly. She insisted that it was just a joke and wouldn't agree when I told her that Taylor would be heartbroken if she heard Abby call her lame. I felt that she didn't deserve to have a party if she couldn't cherish her friend and decided to teach her a lesson. I made her call all 12 girls that were invited, including the ones she had already called to tell the information, and explained to them that there wasn't going to be a party after all because she was being punished for saying something rude about Taylor. She was appropriately embarrassed and cried a lot, and I think definitely learned her lesson. So I felt like this was done and dusted, but Taylor came over last weekend for a sleepover, and I talked to her mom for a bit at drop-off. She told me she heard about what happened because the other parents had been discussing my punishment and thought it was too harsh, and insinuated I should go easier on Abby because she was a sweet and sensitive kid. I wasn't expecting this, so I brushed it off until she left, but got annoyed that other parents are judging me for my actions when my kid did something that was not sweet or sensitive. When Taylor's mother returned to pick her daughter up, she again laid it on thick how much Taylor liked Abby and how she was glad they were friends, and I said, yep, and now Abby knows to treat her friends well and not take them for granted. It got awkward when Taylor's mom kept gushing about Abby and low-key implying that she didn't deserve to be punished, and I snapped back, "Well, I guess you and everyone else know how to parent better than I do." I am still seething over this and want to know if my actions with Abby and with Taylor's mom were warranted because I feel like everyone else is taking crazy pills. Am I the a-hole? Well, OP, in my opinion, yes, you are the a-hole. You didn't just teach your daughter a lesson, you embarrassed her to the point that she's probably scarred from this. While I agree that it's not nice when kids talk badly about each other, calling somebody lame isn't that bad, and definitely not bad enough that you would humiliate her like that and also cancel her first friend's birthday party. I do understand that you were trying to teach your daughter a lesson, to not take her friends for granted. But the way you went about it is effed up, and I think you should apologize to your daughter. On a personal side note, my 5-year-old daughter came to me with a similar situation, not exactly the same, but kinda similar. And I asked her, "How do you think your friend felt?" Of course, she looked at me with a "what do you mean" face, because let's face it, kids are the center of their own universe. So I laid out in a scenario where she's the one in her friend's place, and she said she wouldn't have liked that. Then I said, well, that's how your friend probably felt. I asked her if she understood and she said yes, but I'm not so sure about that. Either way, it's my job to keep teaching her this lesson, but I would never go about it by humiliating her like you did. Now, I know I'm not the best dad in the world, but if I F up or realize that I messed up, I apologize to my kids. There's no shame in that. Anyway, sorry for the oversharing. OP, yes, you are the a-hole. You need to do something about it. And what is your judgment? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes at this point? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Code Sweaty8264 says, "You're the a-hole, major one too, like massive. And besides the fact that you think it's inappropriate to joke like that, have you ever considered that Abby was in fact being honest and saying that lighthearted insults are the way it is between her and Taylor? You jumped onto a conclusion that is based around your comfort and boundaries with jokes, and how is that punishment relevant to what you assumed to be hurtful? Yeah, I cancelled my socially struggling daughter's first real birthday because I took offense on someone's behalf that wasn't even there. I truly have to say, this is the second time I've read something so obviously a-hole-like of OP on this sub, and I'm sitting here writing this with absolute disgust at how some people will lie to you by saying you're not the a-hole. You humiliated your daughter, ruined her first experience being seen by everybody, and probably ruined the trust she had left in you. Just please take one look outside of your own perspective. You were so cruel, even parents outside of your family had to jump to defend your daughter. Superfast Mama says, you're the a-hole. Do you have zero knowledge of kids this age? They all call each other weird names. Lame? Nope, no one would bat an eye. You miss someone's birthday party, they will kiddingly use this terminology. You went so far past the line, it's unbelievable. Fabulous Audie says, you're the a-hole. That's a pretty standard thing for kids to say. And taking away her birthday celebration and embarrassing her in front of peers is not good parenting. Even if she was rude, don't think she was. Did your punishment succeed in teaching her about social interactions? Or did it teach her to just make sure you can't hear her conversations? You taught her that someone else's perception of other people's feelings were more important than her friendships. Additional information from OP's comments. Abby has 2 older siblings, so yes, I know about 11-year-olds. Kids are mean sometimes, and they should be punished when they are mean so they don't turn into bullies. Taylor didn't miss Abby's birthday party by choice. Her family was going somewhere. If you can't treat your friends right, you don't deserve to have them. She also knows what it's like to be bullied, and she knows that hurtful jokes are still hurtful. If she and Taylor tease each other to each other, fine, but she was teasing Taylor to someone else, which is uncomfortably close to bullying. Taylor's mom knew about the comment and made light of it by saying she thought visiting her in-laws was pretty lame too, so it didn't affect her friendship with Taylor after all. I admit to being wrong about that, at least. My point is that Abby has been bullied by the girls in her class, and she should know better than to be a bully too. It is out of character of her to say, so I needed to nip it in the bud quickly. I know bullies have often been bullied themselves, and I think it would be worse parenting to allow my daughter to turn into a bully. I was not bullied as a child, but I'm embarrassed to say I was a bully, which is why I will not let Abby act the way I did. If my mother had punished me like that at her age, you bet your ass it would have made me rethink my actions. My punishment taught her that if you say something mean, there are consequences. When she starts middle school, it will be a fresh start for her, and she needs to know how to act appropriately so she can make friends. Now, Abby's autism changes how people see her and how she acts. Should I not be trying to teach her how to make friends and be accepted by society? I put a lot on Abby because the world will put a lot on her, and she needs to learn how to act because it doesn't come naturally to her as it does to other girls her age. Helping her understand and grow is what I am doing. However, lots of commenters are saying I damaged Abby's ability to fit in with her classmates, and I will ask her about it tonight. She doesn't talk about them, so I wouldn't know, but she hasn't said anything to her father or me. Raising Abby is harder than my other children. I do feel like I don't understand her sometimes or the way she thinks, and perhaps that leads me to misunderstand her here. I did come here thinking some people would call me harsh, but I didn't think that it would be like this. When I see her acting impulsively or struggling socially, I feel like I'm not doing right by her, and I want to double down, so it is hard to hear that I'm failing her anyways. I think it's unlikely that 10 parents are wrong, and nearly impossible that all 200 people on this post are wrong, so I think I messed up big time. OP's edit. I have said it in multiple DMs, but I will say here as well that I was wrong and I'm disgusted with myself. I will clear up that Abby does go to weekly therapy, but we haven't seen a psychologist or done family therapy since she was 8. I was also suspected of having ADD as a child, but my parents didn't do much to investigate after one type of medication failed to help, so I don't think about it that much and don't know if that's relevant. I sat with Abby after supper and apologized for my actions and informed that she is a good kid and a great friend to Taylor. She started tearing up and told me she was hurt that the other girl asked about Taylor because apparently some kids had said they wouldn't go since Taylor wasn't. Abby felt guilty because while she was just joking about Taylor being lame, she was hurt that they liked Taylor and not her. I hadn't even considered this, and I'm heartbroken for her that I kicked her when she was down. She is a sweet and sensitive girl, and I'm very lucky she forgave me. I will be looking into family therapy and connecting with the school to fix this, and told Abby she has a week to decide how and with who she wanted to celebrate a belated birthday. Thanks to everyone who advocated for my daughter when I failed her. Well, the community called out OP big time on how much of an a-hole she was being. And then she started doubling down in her comments, which made me think that I was maybe too easy on her on my own commentary, but yeah, she's a big a-hole. The good thing is that apparently she understood she effed up and is trying to correct her. Either that or she's pandering to everybody. Anyways, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. I won't put this on a mighty a-hole because I'm sure it doesn't fit the update requirements, but I am still getting messages and people reaching out over this post. Some quite violently, others just hurt and lashing out, which I understand. Hopefully this gives more light to the situation and gives you all the conclusion you're looking for. When I posted this, I did not expect it to get more than 50 comments, so when it did, I was blown away and honestly overwhelmed. Some people called this story out for being fake, and the funny thing is that it kind of was and wasn't. I'm Abby, fake name, not Abby's mom, and the day I posted this story I had been thinking about some not so cool experiences from my childhood and was kind of ruminating on this one. This was maybe the second time I remember being traumatized by my mom, but the first one I remember all the details clearly. I was pretty sure she effed up doing this, but all parents eff up their kids sometimes, right? And I had said something mean about my friend, though I don't remember if I said Taylor sucked or was lame. So from her perspective, I deserved to be punished. The way I typed the story was exactly what happened, right down to her making me call every girl in my class. I still remember the script I had to read. Hi, blank. I'm calling to tell you that I'm not allowed to have a birthday party because I said something mean about a friend. Sorry, bye. And after every call, I put my head on the table and wept. Full snot rockets and everything, while my mom typed the next number into the phone and put it in my hand. It has been over 10 years, to keep timing vague, and I still hate my birthday and have never had a successful friend party. I do have friends, I just can't do parties, lol. The only part of the public story that wasn't true was the edit. The catharsis I felt through people agreeing with me was great, but everyone saying schedule her another party or apologize to her right now made me a little sad because my mom literally never brought it up again. So I tried to get some sense of peace from the whole ordeal by pretending she did the right thing. And it honestly worked in the sense that I can't think of that day without crying. So anyway, I posted the story seeking validation, or therapy, or at least trying to gain perspective from her side, and I'm sorry to have misled everyone who saw this post. I was floored by the number of people who understood me, a weird little girl they had never met, more than my own mother ever did. You understood that I was mirroring my peers, having a really hard time making friends, and hurt that no matter how hard I tried, people just didn't like me. I cried so many times writing the original post and answering comments as Abby's mom, parroting things she said back then or things I've heard her say now when she remembers my childhood. She was twisted and abusive, no matter how much she claimed she was trying to help me. And a special sorry to the people who messaged me with long personal stories or advice. I was really moved that you would share something so raw in an attempt to get some ignorant mom to understand. I was so grateful that there were professionals out there willing to put aside time to help kids they had never met. I tried to answer so you wouldn't feel like your effort was wasted, but I felt and feel horrible about lying, and it was resting heavily on my heart. Damn my autistic need to abide by the rules. Trademark pending. Anyways, lots of people also messaged worried about Abby's well-being, so I wanted to say, I am doing fine. I did move out of my parents' house as soon as I could, went to university and graduated with a degree in something I love. I am finally medicated for ADHD and I am engaged to the kindest, most understanding man who is fiercely protective of me when it comes to my mom. I still need therapy, but I promise I'm working on it, and my next attempt will not involve lying on the internet, because holy crap, did this get out of control. Okay, well that is one big twist. Regardless, OP, I am so sorry that you had to deal with that type of mom. That sucks. But it's good to know you're doing better, and also congratulations on everything you've accomplished despite having a sucky mom like that. Thank you so much for sharing, OP, and all the best in the future. As for the rest of us, even though I thought this was an interesting post with a pretty good outcome in the end, I still have somewhat of a bittersweet feeling. So let's move on to a more lighthearted kind of post to finish this video. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge, and it's by user Nalorpod. Ruined my crap boss's marriage. About 10 years ago, when I was 19, I worked for a regional grocery store in the meatpacking department. The pay was bad and I had a second shift. I came in at 3 and left at 11. It wasn't a terrible job, all things considered. I had the meat room to myself so I could listen to music and really just not be annoyed by other employees. My duties when I showed up were to package more ground beef and other beef-based products and put them on the shelf. After 5, I also had to juggle working behind the deli counter. Well, shortly after getting hired, the boss of the meat department showed back up from vacation and I was the new guy. Everything was fine at the beginning, but I found when I would clock in that the lady behind the counter, we'll call her V, wouldn't be there and there would be a line. So I would clock in and spend the first 30 minutes of my shift doing her job. No problem, I actually liked that position. Well, after the line was done, I would almost always see Mr. Boss staring me down, angry that I'm not doing my job. He would give me the rant about doing my duties unless customers needed my help, and they almost always did, but he wouldn't listen. Then I find out that the reason V was never behind the counter when I clocked in was that she and Mr. Boss were having meetings in his office with the door closed. Wink wink. Anyway, not my husband or wife, so not my problem, and we continued this dance of me covering her station and getting in trouble for it for a few weeks, until an ice storm hits. I tell my boss I can't get there because my car was out and that I was waiting on a ride, so I might be a little late. He proceeded to fire me because this is the last straw. By the way, I hadn't had any write-ups. I agreed with him that it was fine because I hated that job anyway. Fast forward 2 years. I'm 21 and I'm celebrating with my friends at basically the only local bar in this terrible tiny craphole town, and when we walk in, who do I see? Why, if it isn't Mr. Boss and not V, but his wife. He looks at me and tries to act like it's a happy coincidence. So I sit down and tell him it's my 21st birthday. He buys me a beer as a gift and I chat him up. Enter my revenge. I introduce myself to his wife and tell her how he treated me. I start talking about how I would cover the deli counter almost every shift for half an hour and then get in trouble for it because it wasn't my job. I said it didn't matter how many times I tried telling Mr. Boss that I wouldn't have to cover the deli counter if he and V weren't having their daily locked door meeting in his office. She looked at him, looked at me, and didn't say a word. It could be read as crappy, but his wife was super polite and friendly, and not in that crappy southern religious style, but a genuinely nice person. I'm glad I could help pull the wool to let her know her husband is a complete garbage person. Nicely done, OP, outing a cheater like that. Damn. I would have liked to see in his face and then try to hear his bumbling explanation. Oosh. And yes, I know I said lighthearted and it was about outing a cheating guy, but that's kind of my dark humor there. Anyways, thanks for sharing, OP. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.